Welcome to the Quantum Mama podcast, where frequency meets faith, science meets spirit, and motherhood becomes a portal to divine expansion. Hosted by Katelyn Simmons, a Jesus-loving, frequency-healing, free birth mama on a mission to help you heal your body, align your energy, and unlock true abundance, inside and out. Each week, she dives into holistic health, nervous system wisdom, quantum biology, faith-filled manifestation, and frequency-based living, all through the lens of motherhood, entrepreneurship, authenticity, and walking boldly in your God-given purpose. Because you weren't made to just survive. You were made to thrive, vibrantly, authentically, wildly, and in total alignment. Let's recalibrate. Let's expand. Let's do life the Quantum Mama way.
Hey friends, you have probably heard people talk about how everything is energy. If you have followed me for any amount of time, then you've heard me talk about how the body is 99.99999% energy. In the last episode, our welcome episode, we touched on what is frequency healing. I want to take this episode to just get a little bit deeper than that and try to demystify it a little bit more. This way, in case you're starting from the very beginning, maybe we've gotten farther along in this podcast and we have lots of episodes, and you're just coming in and you're like, okay, I need like the very beginner's guide to what in the world is frequency. This should help explain it to you. And if you haven't already gotten my free ebook, that should also really help. I tried to lay it out in a way that goes into all of the complex topics and breaks it down. But that's what today's episode is going to be focusing on. Maybe you've seen frequency healing trending on TikTok or Instagram. You've seen the sound baths, people playing the sound bowls using tuning forks, maybe cymatics where you see the shapes in water. You've seen me talk about AO scans and voice analysis, or you've seen people with the big red light panels. Those are all forms of frequency medicine, and they're very powerful and they're very incredible. And so that's why I love to work to demystify this stuff, because a lot of people don't understand it, or it's brand new, they've never heard of it before, or they don't know how it could actually impact their lives. So just like we would take a supplement for something specific, like magnesium has a ton of different a ton of different ways that it helps the body. Like you can take it to help your digestion. It helps your muscles. I used to use magnesium lotion on my massage clients because if someone started to get a cramp or they had a sore area or a really tight area, magnesium would melt the muscle for me. Because I did a lot of deep tissue work when I was a massage therapist, and when I used that massage cream or massage lotion that had magnesium, it was mainly magnesium, it would take away the cramp really fast for my clients. And it was something that I ended up telling people to go buy at the health food store. I'd be like, stop at Sprouts on your way home, pick up some magnesium lotion and use it at home too. So just like we would use a supplement, that's my example, magnesium for a specific thing, it's the same thing when we have frequencies. So each frequency is going to be something that can target a specific need in the body. We're going to dive into a whole bunch of stuff, but the first thing that comes to mind for me is how in the AO scan, we have a section of custom frequencies you can choose and use at your discretion for essential oils, for minerals, for every symptom you can possibly think of. And the frequency, it's not a physical essential oil or mineral or item, it's the energetic form of it. So you can take, just like what you would use maybe frankincense oil for in the physical, you can take the frequency of it and actually use that and get the same results. Is that making sense? So there is a frequency for everything. the frequencies from red light therapy, the nanometer wavelengths of light from a red light panel or a red light wristband or a red light face mask, they're going to have specific uses for specific needs. Like I wear my Solex red light face mask specific for different things. And then there's the green light and the blue light. And those particular nanometers of light are focusing in on and helping things like fine lines and wrinkles and collagen production and pain and inflammation and all these different things. We also see this with the beautiful earth that God gave us. The earth is tuned to a perfect frequency that the human body cannot survive without. The sun, the light coming from the sun changes perfectly throughout the 24 hours. Well, during the day when we see it, and then it goes down at the moon. But in the time that we see the sun, every single hour, the light frequencies are changing, and the way that they go into our eye through the suprachiasmatic nucleus into our brain is signaling different chemical and hormone things to be going on within our body. That's frequency. So we are frequency beings, and when we try to look at health, when we try to focus on the root cause, maybe you've done parasite cleansing, heavy metal detoxing, all the things that are so popular on social media, when we try to look at the body in that way without the frequency piece, we are missing 99.99999% of the puzzle. And that is what I had to learn the hard way. So if you didn't listen to the welcome episode, go back, listen. That's a little bit of my story. But today, we're just going to look at it and say, what is frequency healing? Is it biblical? Is it backed by science? And is it safe? Because there are good frequencies and there are bad frequencies. You've probably heard about electromagnetic fields, EMFs. There are good EMFs and there are non-native EMFs. Non-native meaning they're not native to the earth. God didn't design our earth with Wi-Fi towers. God didn't design our earth to be hooked up to all these electronics and seeing artificial light and all of these different things. And so they can impact our bodies negatively. So today we're going to answer, can we actually use frequency to support our bodies and to transform our lives? Or is this just another spiritual trend? We see a lot of trends in the internet. We see a lot of trends on social media, but let's cut through the noise, cut through the fluff, get rid of the fear, and really just look at it for what it is. This is real science, real scripture, and the real story behind why frequency healing has completely changed my life in so many ways since I first started with modalities like the emotion code, and then now the AO scan has become the biggest part of my life and everything that Solex has created. I just posted a story this morning on Instagram about my terahertz wand, and I get to use the terahertz wand on my baby, good frequencies on my baby, and it's a part of my life, and I get to use it to dry my hair, and it helps my hair grow better. I was just telling my husband, it's like, I have my pregnant hair back. I don't know if any other moms, when you were pregnant, did you have the best hair of your life? While I was pregnant, my hair was like back to how good it was in high school, but better. And I was like, I want this forever. And then the postpartum hair loss. But now, using that terahertz wand, taking the collagen, a special nano collagen we'll talk about on another episode, and doing all of these frequency things, balancing my body every day, has given me back my pregnancy hair. So this, and maybe changing your hair doesn't sound like it's a transformative story, but for me, if you've ever had hair loss, when I was really in the depths of my healing journey and really at my lowest and so anxious and having so much anxiety and PTSD and depression and pain, I was losing a lot of hair. And that was one of the worst feelings in the world. So that is a part of my transformation story, to have healthy hair. But there's been so many transformations from my finances, my work life, my time freedom, the type of people I spend my time with, being a healed empath, being able to be a mom. I didn't even know if I'd ever be able to get pregnant because my hormones were so out of whack. Having just health and abundance in every area of my life. And I want you to have access to that too, and to be able to find transformation wherever you're needing it. So this episode is for the woman who's done all the right things. You feel like you've tried it all, you've bought it all, you've done the diets, the supplements, the protocols, but you still feel off. This is for the woman with symptoms that the doctors just can't explain, or for the woman who has been told it's all in your head. I have heard that. For the woman, the Christian woman who's craving more and knows there's more to health and know there's more to life, but you don't want to be deceived or led astray, and you want to use discernment, and you don't want to go against God's will. That is exactly where I was at. And so I hope this helps you feel empowered, and I hope this helps you feel heard and seen, and I want you to know that you're in the right place. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Albert Einstein, or attributed to Albert Einstein. So everything in creation has a measurable frequency, like we were talking about, from your cells to your thoughts. So think about that. If we can measure the frequency of an essential oil and put it into a subscription like the AO scan, and then be able to press a button to use that frequency to support our bodies or our pets or loved ones, or imprint it into like a bracelet and wear and utilize that frequency for the rest of the day to benefit our body, then, and your thoughts also have a measurable frequency, how do you think your thoughts are impacting your body? So if an essential oil frequency, or a frequency for pain relief, or a frequency for creativity really work, which they do, when you use that with the body, your thoughts are also your own frequency generator. Did that click? Your thoughts you are always generating frequencies. You are a living, breathing frequency generator. You are a creator of your reality. And a lot of times in the Christian community, people get, whoa, like up in arms about that, because they're like, no, God's in control, da 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 da, like all this. A lot of pushback comes when you say things like that. Yes, God is in control, but he also made us to be little creators. We are made in his image. He made us to be able to speak life into our being, speak life into the people around us, speak life into our bodies, but it's also our thoughts. So when you are, and this is proven, when you think about, I have to find the study. This is not a direct quote. I might be getting details wrong, but I remember when I was first learning about this, I think it was Dr. Bradley Nelson talking about it, how there was a study, or there was an experiment done where they were measuring how thoughts from someone across the world or across the country were impacting someone else. And just the thoughts of love were positively impacting and recorded on the other person's brain waves on the other side of the country or the world. I'll have to find the exact details on that. But to me, when I first heard that, that made me think, wow, there's like actual science to back up our prayer life. Like when you're praying without ceasing, which doesn't mean you're, sitting in your room always praying like this with your head bowed and always have your eyes closed, praying out loud. Praying without ceasing is you're in a constant communication with your creator. You're talking to him with your thoughts. When we are praying without ceasing and praying for someone on the other side of the world, praying for someone in another country, praying for our friends and our family, that's measurable in their brain. So then we go back and we think about how our thoughts have a frequency. If our thoughts each have a frequency and we're thinking loving, healing, abundant thoughts, we're going to see that reflect in our life. If we are thinking negatively or angry thoughts, or feeling like the woe is me and everything's so hard and all these, kind of the opposite side. I don't even like to say those things out loud or think about it now, because I used to be in a very negative place. I thought the worst. I always thought people were thinking bad things about me. I always assumed the worst about different situations. I had a lot of, I didn't even realize it, but I thought I was a positive, happy person, but a lot of my thoughts were very negative and fearful. Those were frequencies that I was actually putting out, being that little frequency generator and impacting my reality. So if we are constantly thinking on good things, doesn't it say that in the Bible? Think on things that are lovely, pure, and of a good report. Why is that so important? God knows. God made us. Do you think that God would make the universe in a way that he didn't understand? That's what I want to know. When people are so up in arms about this stuff, do you think God doesn't know what he did? Well, he put the answers in the Bible for us. I love how Myron Golden, if you don't listen to him, he is my favorite business guru to listen to. And I love his Bible study page too. He's on YouTube, he's on Instagram. He is my top favorite currently. He breaks stuff down in such an incredible way. He talks about how the Bible should be our business, like our business playbook, our business book that we go to and read, and our guide for life. And he breaks it down in such an incredible way. That was a whole side note. The point is, frequency healing is not woo, it's physics, it's ancient, we were created from frequency. God spoke and the vibrations of his voice created our universe, created our world, created everything. And so everything in God's creation vibrates at a specific frequency. You have your own unique, specific frequency that no one else who was ever created or ever put on this planet has or had. So when people ask me, how does the AO scan work? How does this frequency generating work? How is it knowing to scan me? How is it knowing like I'm the person at the other end? Because if you are not familiar with this technology I keep talking about, basically it's an app that you log into and you get to go into the technology that used to be only available for $38,000, use it as though you were the practitioner. This is something that practitioners and doctors had access to because they used it with their clients and you would have to go book a session with them. Now we log in and all you have to do is type in your first and last name, put a picture of yourself up there, your birthday, and your weight and your height. And what that does is it creates your profile within this bioresonance scanner. They're not saving or storing your information. That's a big question that comes up all the time. This is just so that the scanner knows it's you and it is going to you and you alone because that is your energetic fingerprint. Think of it similar to your key fob for your car. Your key fob is programmed to only unlock and lock your car. If you go in the parking garage after a day at the mall or out in the parking lot after going to the grocery store and you start clicking the button on your key fob, are all the cars going to go off? No. Are all the cars that look like yours going to go off? No. Only your car. That is the same thing. We each have a fingerprint, a unique, specific frequency that is unlike anyone else. And when you put in those details into the bioresonance, it is going to go to your body through the quantum field because scalar waves, quantum energy, this stuff does not know any bounds. That is why our prayer is so powerful. When you pray, when you use technology like this, scalar waves, when you have a thought, it's not going to bounce off the wall and come back to you. It's not going to be stuck in your room. It is infinite. I don't know if you remember that reel that went viral. It was a guy talking a voiceover. He was saying your voice goes to the edge of the universe, but that it never stops. Your thought is impacting everyone. It's impacting everything. And that makes me think of Dr. David Hawking and his book, Power versus Force, and his consciousness scale. When we think about how he talks about, I should look up the actual stats on this before I start talking about it, but he talks about how just raising the frequency of one person can impact multitudes. And the higher the frequency of that person, the more people it will impact. Do you feel the weight of this? Do you see the importance? Do you feel the importance of taking your thoughts captive? When you really understand the power that you hold, you look at life differently. You look at life through a different lens. You look at your baby in a different way. You look at your husband in a different way. Every time you allow a negative thought, every time you allow things that we know are not right into your mind, they are impacting everything else. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. We all have negative thoughts. I'll say things that are negative. The point is, the more you practice this and the more that you are aware and the more you realize that what you say and what you think and what you believe are influencing the people around you, love your neighbor as yourself that is very important. Loving others, thinking the best. Okay, I got to stick to my notes. Every emotion that you have has a frequency. Every organ has a frequency. Every thought, every cell, every system. Let's go back to trapped emotions. If every emotion has a frequency, those frequencies are good. We want emotions. I love in the training for the emotion code, they talk about how life would be so boring if we didn't have emotions. And that is so true. Can you imagine not feeling excited? Can you imagine not waking up in the morning and just having those awesome days where you're like, this is going to be a good day and being stoked for life? It would be pretty boring. And we need the ups and downs. We need the change and all of it. But what happens when frequencies and energies don't flow, when they don't move and they get stuck and stagnant, they create symptoms. So if we have, let's say the liver creates anger. The liver creates anger. A lot of people with liver problems have anger issues as well. So if we have all these trapped emotions of anger, and they're lodging in our liver's getting stagnant, our gallbladder's getting overloaded. We've got gallstones now. We've got this whole backup in the system of these trapped emotions, and our meridians aren't flowing. We try to go to acupuncture, but we're not addressing our emotions and the frequencies. It's just going to keep getting backlogged and backlogged and backlogged. So it's not to say that emotions have a bad frequency. They have a frequency, and we need frequencies to be flowing. We need frequencies to be moving. And that's where the importance of using our thoughts, using intention, using breathwork, using bioresonance, using things like the emotion code to keep that energy moving and flowing is so important. So let's break this down in another way. Your brain waves. So we talked about our thoughts. Our thoughts have a frequency. They're measurable. Our brain emits electrical signals that create brain waves. Your brain waves are governing your state of consciousness. So we have delta, which helps you deep sleep and repair. We have theta, which is subconscious healing, prayer, meditation. We have alpha, which is calm and creative flow. We have beta, which is alert thinking or anxious overdrive. We have gamma, which is known for spiritual insight, unity, and divine connection. And this brings me to talking about the hub a little bit. As we're talking about frequency, I want you to know there are a lot of tools that I share about and that I use on a regular basis and that I encourage people to invest in when they can that help you harness the power of frequency and use it to help your body. And so in this case, we're talking about helping the brain. We know a lot of people with brain issues lately. There's a lot going on, whether it's stuff that's getting sprayed in the skies above us or it's in the water, if it's the frequencies being directed at us, if it's just the disconnection from nature, whatever it is, it seems like a lot of people are having a lot to do with their brain not functioning properly. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. So back to the hub. This is another great example of how we're using frequency in real life, how we're using frequency to better our lives and heal and change. The hub is a small version that's an at-home version of what was originally the theta chamber. The theta chamber was a $78,000 device that spins you around and gets your brain into theta. So remember, we just talked about how theta waves, your brain waves in theta, subconscious healing and prayer, subconscious reprogramming, meditation. This is what's going to be really changing your reality when we get into the subconscious, which we'll do an episode diving deep into the subconscious at some point. But right now, just know the subconscious mind is the part of you that is ruling your life. When we talk about having thoughts and wanting to take our thoughts captive, we can consciously really work on that and make a big difference. But your conscious mind is only really in charge of maybe less than 5% of your intelligence. The subconscious is like the big iceberg underneath, 95+% of your intelligence. So influencing the subconscious mind is very important. And unfortunately, things like TV, mainstream music, they put us into theta and then program us with whatever we are listening to. So think TV programming, it's programming. What are people's favorite things to watch? Usually dramas that talk about poverty and drama and bad things happening and scary things, and people are addicted to adrenaline and horror films and all this garbage. And then they're wondering why they look at their life and they're not happy with their life. We got to change the programming. So this big machine, people have it. You can go to wellness centers and find it. You sit, you lay down. I've gotten to use it. You lay down. It's developed by Lauren Swenson, who developed the AO scan. He's the coolest dude. Maybe someday I can get him to come on this podcast. Lauren, if you ever hear this, I would love to interview you. Anyways, the theta chamber gets you into theta and it uses frequency, and not everyone can buy a $78,000 giant thing. It wouldn't even fit in this room that I'm in, and it spins you around. This cool dude and Solex made us an at-home version of it. So you can put on a headset, clips on your ears, goggles that do light stimulation, lay down, and get into theta. But you also have the ability to change the frequencies. So you can get into gamma, you can get into alpha, delta. So you've got these frequencies of the brain. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I got excited when I saw gamma, because if I ever get a chance to use my hub and get my brain into gamma in the morning, I have the most productive day ever. So if you're ever wondering, how's Katelyn like getting so much stuff done? She has a baby. I don't have childcare. Right now it's a weekend and my husband is helping with nap time. We still do a lot of contact napping and I have to like run in here and try to record as fast as I can before little homie wakes up, and then we're going to go have a great day, all three of us. But I get a lot done when I get to use my frequency therapies, when I get my brain in gamma, when I use mind sync, when I do inner voice, when I run my frequencies. This is what's helping me. One of my favorite frequencies that I've been using over the past 4 years is called accelerated learning. You push the button, the frequencies go to you, and let me tell you, I have even better reading comprehension skills than I did before. Like, I fly through books. This is achievable, I believe, for anybody. If you really start working and changing your life, you can become the motivated version of yourself. You can become the creative version of yourself. You can step into exactly who you want to be when you start thinking the thoughts, changing the subconscious programming, using frequency, and being so intentional. Every part of my life is more intentional now. I really, like it comes in layers. You start to notice things. You stop craving watching TV. You stop wanting any alcohol. You stop craving to be around certain people. You like everything starts to shift as you raise your frequency, and the negative things that were holding you back and the things that were keeping you in an old mindset or things that were low frequency, they fall away. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the heart's magnetic field. If you're not already excited about frequency just from this, hold on, because there's more. The heart's magnetic field. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field that's 60 times stronger than your brain. So we talk about how incredible the brain is. Your heart is stronger. It's detectable up to 6 feet from your body, according to the HeartMath Institute. And actually, I personally think that people can feel it farther away from that. I think there's probably going to be tech in the future that shows us it's farther than that. I know I've listened to Eileen McCusick talk about how she does biofield tuning. Really great stuff. Her books are in my quantum reading list. I highly suggest you read them. Her 2 books, I've read them multiple times. They are some of my absolute favorites. They just help break down chakras and tuning forks and sound and vibrations, and it's really, really cool stuff. But I've heard her say that with her tuning forks, she has felt the biofield, which I guess that's not technically the heart's field, but she's felt the biofield up to like 10 feet away from a person. So I believe it depends on the person. And it also makes me wonder, like, what is the electromagnetic field of a horse or an elephant? I guess the horse is probably already measured. I think I've heard the stats on that. But when we go to anywhere, or my daughter loves to go to the zoo, and she loves the elephants. So we always stop. It's a great place to walk. We get good walking in. We always stop by the elephants. And that's always my thought. Like, what is their electromagnetic field in their heart like? And what is their biofield like? And then I start thinking, well, what if they weren't in this really tiny little terrible captivity spot? What if they were out in the wild? Like, what is the measurement of that? So many thoughts. As you dive into this, your mind just goes to different places. Okay, your voice is also data. Your voice holds vibrational information. And this is why, of course, I talk about the AOScan technology, because this is the voice analysis tech that I use. It analyzes the data in your voice over 10,000 different frequencies. It's scanning, and it only takes like 10 seconds to find the stress and the toxicity, inflammation, emotional trauma, and more, all of the things. I mean, I see pathogens, parasites, chemicals, toxins, all these things show up connected, able to be seen from your voice. And it shows you the connections and how that's influencing your emotion without ever telling the AOScan what you're feeling. If you speak for 10 seconds, you're going to get pages of reports that show you what it found just from your voice. I hear my baby's awake, so I'm going to have to wrap this up soon, so let's keep going. Every organ has a frequency. We mentioned this. Healthy tissues vibrate at specific frequencies. When disease or dysfunction is present, those frequencies drop and get lower. It's measurable and it's reversible. So if you think of a damaged spleen, that would be a low, bad frequency. We want to bring it back to a resonant frequency. The AO scan has all of these resonant, healthy frequencies programmed into it so that it's measuring you based off of what a healthy organ, a healthy knee, a healthy eye, your healthy hair, healthy DNA, chromosomes, the healthy version of it. How is it comparing to that? Is it really inflamed and chronic? Is it inflamed and acute? Is it new? Where is it at on the scale? And then it sends the frequencies for the healthy resonant organ, healthy resonant part of your body right back. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. Every day I do my scans for my whole family. I actually have even extended family in my multi-scan, so I can scan up to 16 of us all at the same time. And what it's doing is it's scanning to see what parts of the body are out of balance, what's not in a resonant frequency, what's not ideal. It'll show you after, but before it shows you, it's going to send optimizing frequencies right to your body to bring it back to balance, back to homeostasis. How cool is that? That we have this technology. It's beyond anything I ever thought would be available. And it's just so this just shows frequency healing is not guessing. It's not placebo. Oh my gosh, when you start using this on animals, horses, dogs, chickens, pets, any kind of animal, when you start using this frequency on animals, you see, and babies, like it gives you a deeper knowing, like, wow, this is the stuff we're made of. This is working. This is not placebo. This is quantum level restoration. Now, for my Christian girls out there, let's just go over a little bit of scripture and anchor this in truth. I've had people get really fearful and go to their pastor and ask questions. Guys, your pastors don't know this stuff. Maybe some of them do. I want every pastor to learn this stuff. If you feel like you need to go ask them about this, ask them to do research first. Ask them to clearly understand what a frequency is, understand what an emotion is, understand the meridian system before you let their misunderstandings guide your choices. And take it to God first. Talk to God. Talk to God about this. If you feel fearful, usually fear is not from God. Fear is not from God, period. Discernment is very different than fear. Okay, Genesis 1:3, and God said, let there be light. Right there, creation did not begin with physical hammer and nails. It began with sound and light. He spoke vibrations. Those are measurable sound waves. Light is a spectrum. It's frequency, visible and invisible. Sound is vibration. Vibration is frequency. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word. The word in Greek is logos, divine logic frequency resonance. Proverbs 18:21, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your words shape your reality and your biology. I want you to think about how we said thoughts are a frequency. Your words are a frequency. The things you look at. Guard your eyes. I'm looking at my vision board. When you look at a vision board, whatever you look at, whatever you imagine, imagination. Man, we have a lot to talk about on this podcast. I really got to wrap this up today. But imagination, whatever you are picturing in your mind, whatever you are speaking, whatever you are thinking, you have to see it and imagine it for it to actually take place for real in the future. Andrew Womack talks about this a lot. He is another one of my favorites. Watch his imagination playlist on YouTube. Listen to him speak. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but if you need a biblical understanding of how powerful your mind is, go listen to his series on imagination. It is so powerful. You have to imagine things before they can happen in the physical. He talks about this, like, why are people doing a lot of bad things? How can someone go commit murder? How can someone go do something awful? They already imagined it up in here a lot. If someone is going to go cheat, they already imagined it a lot in their brain. It's already taken root in their brain. If someone's going to do something they know they shouldn't do, they're acting on something that was already created up in here. They laid the groundwork with frequency. Now, God created frequency, and we want to use it for good, but the enemy distorts what God made. He does not create anything new. In the book, The Physics of Heaven, which this is another one in my quantum reading list that I suggest you read. It's been hard for me to find, though. It's hard to find the link. I don't know if it's out of print or what. But The Physics of Heaven, there's multiple authors. It's linked in there, and hopefully you can find it. Hopefully it's up on Amazon right now. They talk about how let's say God made money, and you can only buy things with real money, but there's counterfeits. So if you came across some counterfeit monopoly money, would you go, I'm going to throw away all of my real money because there is counterfeit money? This monopoly money is intrusive, it's bad, it's evil. How could it even say that it's real money? And then throw a hissy fit and never use money again. Okay, I really embellished how they said their story and used that analogy, but that's how it comes out in my mind. So you wouldn't throw out all of your money just because there's fake money, right? That would be really dumb. Same thing with this. We should not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We should not throw out frequency and energy and all of this stuff that God made us with and God created just because the enemy has tried to twist it and change it and create something similar that's not good. Now, let's just touch on what is this actually doing for your biology? It's cool stuff. This is why we say quantum biology. This is why I got certified in quantum biology. I was on the Quantum Biology Collective podcast. It was so fun talking to Meredith. Go listen to that episode if you haven't yet. When your body is in sympathetic overdrive or fight or flight, your digestion slows down, your immunity drops, your hormones dysregulate, your inflammation rises, and healing halts. So you could be eating all the right foods, taking all the right supplements, but if your nervous system is stuck in stress, your body will not receive the benefit. Does that make sense? You can be doing everything like I was. I was using a sauna. I was taking binders. I was taking tons of supplements. I was spending like $800 to $1,000 a month on supplements. I was going to the chiropractor. I was going to colon hydrotherapy. I was doing coffee enemas. I was stretching. I was walking. I was using every wellness tool I knew of at the time. I was doing cupping therapy, lymphatic enhancement technology, and I was stuck. I was so stuck. My body was not receiving the benefit. Until I started using these frequency tools. Frequency tools shift your body back into the parasympathetic and the healing mode. You know, I really think about, it was such a sudden shift. It was like I was working my brick and mortar practice and I had been dreaming of being virtual for a long time. I saw the girls on Instagram talking about time freedom and I thought, I want to make that. How do I do that? I prayed. I didn't really believe it, that it could be for me. I didn't understand how people were doing it. And then the emotion code came, and then shortly after the AO scan. And very quickly, within a couple months, I was virtual. Then I was able to really heal my back injury because I wasn't having to do so much physical labor. I wasn't going into an office carrying stuff, still working on clients physically. I was a practitioner doing supplement protocols, but I still had my clientele base with lymphatic enhancement technology and massage. And when you're still I still believe that you can heal in the environment that made you sick, but I don't think you can heal as quickly and as fast in a lot of circumstances. And a lot of times you have to shift out of that environment. And for me, shifting to get out of the environment where I had to do the physical labor and was still being so drained every day was exactly what I needed to let my back heal. And so I feel like when frequency came in, it was like not just that it was helping me get into a parasympathetic mode. It like made it feel okay that I can go heal. It's safe to go heal. And I still was in fight or flight for a while, but it shifted enough that I was able to make the decision and take action on making the changes that needed to happen. And it flowed so incredibly. Frequency can change your life. And speaking of the nervous system, one of my favorite frequencies within the AO scan is called Nerve Ease. And it's a blend of 15 to 20 frequencies together, made perfectly to support your nervous system. And every time I tell people to run that one, when people message me like, what should I do for this? What should I do for that with their AO scan? And that one, it's just people feel immediate peace. People feel a shift. They feel themselves go back into parasympathetic. And that is one of my favorites and one that I use a lot. I have that in our sleep playlist because I run a sleep playlist of like 15 frequencies for my family at night. For my husband, my baby, and I run a playlist that goes all night long. And in there, Nerve Ease is one of them. Just a couple more examples really quick with frequency medicine, frequency healing. Max Planck, he is a Nobel Prize winning physicist, says all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. Behind this force is a conscious and intelligent mind. The Heart Math Institute, the heart emits An electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than the brain. We already mentioned that. The 528 hertz, you've probably heard of this one. It's associated with heart coherence and even studied for DNA repair. Red light therapy boosts mitochondrial energy and energy production. That is a source from Dr. Michael Hamblin, Harvard. Breath work, we know, syncs the heart rate variability and brain waves. The AO scan uses scalar frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies to recalibrate your energetic blueprint. Bruce Tanio's frequency research, I'm not sure if I said his last name correctly, his research showed that a healthy human body is resonating from 62 to 72 megahertz. And then the measurement when that megahertz frequency drops and goes lower down to 58 megahertz, that's when illness begins. I think he even did cancer and death. So that's one I'll have to dive into more at some point. But this is, I just wanted to share like a little list, like Nobel Prize winning people are talking about quantum entanglement. They're talking about, or have talked about, how we are created by a conscious and intelligent mind. The Heart Math Institute is talking about the energy of the heart. These frequencies are known and studied and measurable. There is so much science to back it. So that's what I really want to show you, is how we have the spiritual side that confirms that this is truth. When you look at the Bible and you really, I feel like when you look at it through this lens, everything is new and everything is more tangible and makes more sense. And like, oh, that's why God said that. That makes a lot of sense. Then prayer and gratitude, we know, raise your vibration. How cool is that? Pray without ceasing. Vibroacoustic therapy is clinically used to reduce pain, anxiety, and inflammation. So when you dive into the world of frequency and quantum, it is more than self-care. It is more than holistic health. It is cellular recalibration. I believe it's helping bring us back to how God intended us to be. When he first created the earth, back when it was perfect frequencies, perfect electromagnetic field. Our electromagnetic field has lessened and weakened over the last all these years. But frequency is what changed my life, and I'm so glad that I realized that frequency healing wasn't something outside of the church, and it wasn't something that I needed to steer clear of or stay away from, and that it was actually confirmation of what God had been showing me all along. So here's what I want you to take with you today. Healing does not have to be complicated. You do not need to be a scientist or a guru. And you just need to align with how God designed you. You also don't need to spend a lot of money, although a lot of the things I talk about do cost money, but money we'll dive into is just energy. And your frequency is also determining how much money you're allowing into your life. So keep that in mind. Be sure you download my free ebook because I go into the science of manifestation there as well. But there are a lot of free things that you can do. And I always tell people, the Bible, God says, be faithful with little, and then you will be trusted with much. Be faithful with the free things now. If that's all you can do now, start with the free things. Here's my top things to do. Work on your thoughts. Start changing your thoughts because you are a frequency generator. Your thoughts are frequencies, and they will create your life. Take captive all of the input you are putting into your mind. The TV shows you are watching. If you are watching garbage, you need to cut it out. If you're listening to garbage, you need to cut it out. If you have garbage friends, you need to cut them out of your life. I'm sorry. I'm a little ruthless with the cutting out of things because I know how much it will help your life. I don't watch TV. I do not watch anything. I don't allow things into my mind or into my space, if I can help it, that are not aligning me with God, are not aligning me on my vision of my future, or are not something God clearly told me to do. And you cannot do the work God has called you to do if you keep allowing all these distractions and low vibration things into your life. The next free thing I would suggest that you do is ground regularly. Get your bare feet on the earth. If you're grossed out to touch the bare feet on the earth, touch your bare hands on a tree, touch the grass, get in nature, get the sun. I have free tips all over my Instagram as well. So if you just start with those 3 things, you will see your life radically change. You will see so much transformation. We don't even realize how powerful these things are. Also, I forgot this one. Pray. Pray. Please pray. If you're not a praying person, give it a try. Pray, pray, pray. Your life will improve. Okay. When your energy is regulated, your cells repair, your mind quiets, and your heart opens. and your life starts to change. Not because of a tool, but because of alignment. All of these tools, the paid tools, the free tools, all the things I talk about, they're not a magic fix. They're not a Band-Aid. They're not like Western medicine where you take a pill and you get Amazon results of just like masking something. You're not going to get a super fast Band-Aid mask of all of your problems from your whole life. You do have to peel back the onion, but it's going to bring you into alignment, and then it's lasting, incredible results. So let's end with a short breath work. Let's go ahead and breathe together. Get in a comfortable place. If you're in a safe place to close your eyes, go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to inhale through your nose for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your mouth for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your mouth for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And inhale again through your nose for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through your mouth for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now keep breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Imagine your breath flowing in and through your heart. Put your hand over your heart and envision your chest expanding full of light. Breathe into the space where God dwells within you. Now I want you to bring up a memory, a moment that filled you with peace, joy, or just awe. Let your body remember that feeling. Where do you feel it? Let your nervous system rest in that frequency. Now repeat after me. On the inhale, I am safe. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. I receive. Inhale, God is with me. Hold. Exhale, I am in alignment. And keep breathing that in and let it anchor into your cells. Keep breathing deeply and picture your future from this energy. You're parenting from peace, creating from overflow. You're receiving so much abundance without any force. You're living with spiritual and biological coherence. That is the frequency of healing. That is the frequency of faith. And that is the frequency of freedom. And that's all I have for you today. Be sure to check out the show notes for freebies, links, discount codes, and all the things. And if you liked this, please share it with a friend, and I'll see you next week.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Quantum Mama podcast. If today's conversation expanded your mind, nourished your soul, or lit a fire in your spirit, share it with a friend. Tag Katelyn on Instagram at Katelyn Simmons Official and at The Quantum Mama, and leave a quick review. Don't forget to check the show notes for this episode's featured products, her favorite frequency healing tools, and a free gift. Created to help you go deeper. You were made to thrive, Mama, in wholeness, wealth, and wild alignment. Until next time, keep rising, keep resonating, and keep living the Quantum Mama way.